This one's an interesting one. Matt Kavner asks, do you think Omar Kahn, GM of the Steelers, is on the hot seat? And maybe that explains the big swings this season for the Steelers. That assumes that Kahn is the one making these decisions. We never know in Pittsburgh who's really making the call. And I think Art Rooney, the owner of the team, is more involved than anyone realizes. I don't think he likes to advertise that. But I don't know how much of this falls on Kahn. I don't know how much of it falls on Tomlin. I just think the organization is desperate. Now, will the desperation that has manifested itself in all the moves we've seen as it relates to players this year, will that result in some desperation as it relates to the coaching staff and the front office next year? If this year's moves didn't work, I don't know. But I don't think that Kahn possibly being in any type of trouble would influence Kahn taking the big swings this year, because I think it's more than just him. I think it's a collective effort to go out there and do things far differently than we've ever seen it from the Pittsburgh Steelers. David Mitchell, any updates on the John Gruden case? Now, the John Gruden case is still pending before the Nevada Supreme Court on the question of whether or not he'll be able to proceed in open court or whether he'll be relegated to the NFL's secret in-house rigged kangaroo court of arbitration. The last time I saw an update on this, I was told a ruling from the full Nevada Supreme Court could come at any time. And what happened was he went to the Nevada Supreme Court. A 3-judge panel found 2-1, he's got to go to arbitration. He filed a motion for reconsideration before the entire court, all 7 justices. That's what's happening. Could he win 4-3? I don't know. I feel like this thing is destined for the U.S. Supreme Court one way or the other. Whether it's Gruden losing in Nevada or Gruden winning in Nevada, I feel like the U.S. Supreme Court is going to get involved, and this thing is just going to drag and drag and drag. It was filed in November of 2001. We are going to be 4 years in this November, and we still don't know where in the hell the case is going to be pursued. Chuck, will the NFL investigate Jim Harbaugh for the allegations made in the lawsuit arising from the Matt Weiss hacking scandal, or does the NFL not have any power since it happened at Michigan? Hey, the NFL can do whatever it wants and will do whatever it wants. Remember when Harbaugh was potentially coming back to the NFL? NFL media was putting out there this idea that there might be some sort of a punishment imposed on Harbaugh to simulate whatever his punishment would have been as he was going out the door in Michigan. They did it to Jim Tressel. They did it to Terrell Pryor. You know, the NFL is very sensitive to its relationship with college football because college football is the NFL's free farm system. So I don't know. I don't know. But at the end of the day, one thing we've seen from the NFL, it does whatever it wants to do, especially when it's dealing with non-union employees who don't have that union protection, that labor contract that spells out the rights. All that's left is the contract signed by the coach, and all of those contracts contain a clause that allows the NFL to be the judge, jury, and executioner as it relates to whatever the league decides to do. Scott Mason, are you coming back onto Sky Sports in the UK? I haven't gotten an update lately. Our run that ended with the start of hiatus on June 13, that carried us through whatever the arrangement is between Sky and the NFL. I don't know where that stands. Hopefully it gets worked out by July 28. And the issue is very simple. Sky needs to have an NFL agreement in order to air our show because our show has NFL highlights. So you can't have a show with NFL highlights if you don't have a deal with the NFL to show NFL highlights on your network. The alternative is to provide them a version that would have still images and not video, which is possible and which I've committed to arranging if it gets to that point. I just need to check and see. We love our relationship with the NFL fans in the UK. They're very passionate. Person to person, they're more passionate than the NFL fans are because they don't get as much football as they want. So the truly zealous NFL fans in the UK, they are top 10% equivalent of the NFL fans in the US. It's just a fact. And I've learned it over the 6 or 7 years that we've been associated with Sky Sports, and PFT Live has been a staple of the daily schedule on Sky Sports NFL during the season, Sky Sports Action when it's the NFL offseason. Stefan Peterson, apart from the Seahawks, who is the next team you believe will be sold? I don't know. There isn't one out there that is clearly a hot spot where there's anything that's percolating. I'm surprised that with the values of the teams going up and up and up in recent years, that there hasn't been an owner who's decided, you know what? I'm good. I'm out. I'll take my $10 billion. I've had my fun. I've maybe won a Super Bowl or two. I'm not trying to hint at, the Chiefs or the Eagles or the Ravens or anyone else, but it's easier to close the book on your time as an owner if you have won a Super Bowl along the way. It's easier to justify it. I've done everything I can do. I'm grabbing the cash and I'm moving on. A lot of cash. But, there's a certain point, and I'd love to have the ultimate champagne problem of having so much money that I don't know what to do with it. But isn't there a certain amount of money where number one, it does not make your life any better. Number two, it's just more work and more effort to make sure that money's all properly positioned and situated in estate planning and interest. I just wonder what that number is. And I'd love to find out. It's like finding out the number of licks it takes to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop. I'd like to know how much money it takes to get to the point where you're like, oh man, no more money. I don't want any more money. I just can't handle any more money. So, assuming that there is no such number, I feel like one of these owners, one of these days, is going to say, 10 billion? Good enough for me. 12 billion? Good enough for me. I mean, hell, the guy who got pushed out got a $6 billion parting gift. That's a hell of a punishment. $6 billion on an original investment that was under $1 billion. One last question. Emmanuel, do you believe that the players will use the leverage that the collusion ruling provided to get anything for the next CBA? And what do you think that would be? Easy answer. No, I don't think they'll use it. Why do we know that? Because when the ruling came out, and it wasn't just the ruling, it was the evidence in the ruling, the text message exchange between Dean Spanos, the Chargers owner, and Cardinals owner Michael Bidwell, which to the average person reeks of collusion. The internal communications in Denver, where Greg Penner, the former Walmart CEO, who would have given no F's whatsoever about what his business decision would do as it relates to Walmart competitors like Target. All of a sudden, he's like, oh, the other owners will be happy with this. You're competing with them. That's the kind of stuff that the NFLPA should be using. The ruling that the league encouraged/urged the teams to collude, and the facts that contradict the arbitrator's ruling that they didn't collude. That should be a hammer that the NFLPA is using, starting with a press conference, efforts to work the back channels politically, legal challenges, anything and everything. But they stuck it in a drawer and they hid it. So no, they're not going to use it. That's why players should be upset. They should be asking questions. Why aren't we using this thing? Chris Long is. Nobody else is. I don't know whether it is fear of reprisal or whether it's apathy. I don't know that individual players would have the same fear of reprisal that like agents would have, because as I said yesterday, the agents are concerned. I can't piss off the league. I can't piss off the union. I got to do business with both of them. And I don't know. Certain players, I guess, have to worry about poking the bear because certain players aren't good enough to poke the bear and continue to have an NFL career. That's why, as Chris Long said, what it's going to take is a franchise quarterback to say, I'm just not playing. And I think the best candidate would be Lamar Jackson. I just don't think Lamar Jackson understands, because he doesn't have an agent to explain to him what the actual import of this is and how this hurts him and how the NFL did go about colluding in a way that resulted in no teams reaching out to him when he was available on the non-exclusive franchise tag, and the arbitrator accepted every excuse. Oh, he gets injured. And, oh, you have to have a different offense. Well, you put the offense in. He doesn't fit our offense. You make your offense fit him. That is such a load of crap. Well, some teams wouldn't be interested in Lamar Jackson because they don't run an offense that Lamar Jackson. You hire an offensive coordinator to run a Lamar Jackson offense. You don't even call. They didn't even try. It's amazing. Yeah, if Lamar Jackson had a quarterback agent, CAA, Athletes First, one of the top agents, to say, hey, Lamar, they made you look like a fool here. They knew what they were doing. Your phone didn't ring because no one else was going to offer you a fully guaranteed contract. You were never leaving the Ravens. And then he ultimately accepted something other than a fully guaranteed contract. So, could he say, I want a fully guaranteed contract right now or I'm not playing? Yeah, he'd have daily fines and he'd lose game checks. I don't know. Does he care? You have to pay back bonus money. He's the perfect one to take a stand. And I think if he did, the Ravens would probably give him a fully guaranteed contract for 5 years, starting from today. All right, before we go, I've been failing to do this. You know what? I'm probably over for today, but let's just get this done because I'm going to keep forgetting. Somebody last week wanted a little show and tell on some of my favorite trading cards. So in no particular order, this is the Fran Tarkenton rookie card that a good friend of mine gave me when my son was born. It's technically my son's card, but possession is 9/10 of the law. Besides, he'll get them all when I croak anyway. Another good friend gave me Alan Page rookie card years ago. This one is mine, but it will become my son's. This is one of my all-time favorite cards because this speaks to the level of ignorance that I had as a kid. I just love the look of this card because it's a night game with Fran Tarkenton, but I didn't understand why he didn't have the horn on his helmet. I thought the horn must have come off during the game. I didn't realize the whole thing with licensing and they couldn't show the logos. It took me a while to figure that out. I just thought, man, what a coincidence. Every time they take pictures for football cards with helmets in them, the logo fell out. Why do I never see that on TV? All right, a couple more here that I brought down. I got a lot upstairs. How about a couple of non-football featuring Michael Jordan? This one is supposedly worth some money. This is the Michael Jordan Upper Deck baseball card, Chicago White Sox. The holder is really gotten yellowed, but the card is in great shape. I think this thing it's hard to tell what anything's worth when you look it up. The range for any of these cards is ridiculous. I guess it's worth whatever someone would pay, but this one's not for sale. But this is my top baseball card, and this is an old basketball card I have, and I don't think it's worth much money, but I love it because Michael Jordan's number 23 was missing for that game, so he had to wear a jersey with number 12 without his name on the back. It's not even his card. It's who is it? It's Sam Vincent, but Michael Jordan's in the foreground wearing number 12. A couple of other rookie cards that I've always cherished that got the old-fashioned way, opening up the packages of the Topps playing cards. Steve Largent back in the 70s. Earl Campbell, happy with that one. And this is the one, I'll tell you the story real quick before we wrap up. 1976 was the year that I was obsessed with getting every card in the Topps set by opening the packs. And obviously, the closer you get, the harder it is. And I finally got the last card I needed. I think I traded with someone from the last card. I broke my rule because I wasn't going to keep buying these damn packs because that one last card, it was a needle in the haystack. It was Gene Fugett, the former Washington tight end. That was the last one I needed, and I finally got it. But I have all those cards upstairs. When you buy that many packs, and my dad had a bar, so he actually was able to buy things at wholesale. He'd get the whole box. For Christmas, I got a whole box. That was greatest Christmas gift ever. A whole box of football cards where you open it up and all the packs are in there and it smells like that bubble gum that'll break your teeth. Anyway, for some of the players in the 1976 Topps run, I've got 8, 9, 10. For the one that is the most valuable, I only have one. And fortunately, it wasn't at the top or the bottom of the stack with the rubber band that ruined the cards because they all got rubber banded together. The Walter Payton card, another one that I don't know what it's really worth, and it doesn't matter because it's never getting sold. It'll go to my son. This one this one is the prize piece of the collection. This is the one. If you rob my house, this is the one you'll never find. I keep it on me at all times. The Walter Payton rookie. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.